Welcome back, guys, to another episode of 5-Minute DD, the 5-minute segment where I give you all of the information on one of the top yielding dividend aristocrats. We are looking at ticker MO today, Altria Group Incorporated. Excuse me, I'm going too fast. But I am going to have to go fast throughout all of this because there's so much information about this company. It's probably the most controversial dividend stock that you can buy. And there's a number of reasons for that. We'll go into that. It's such an interesting company, and this is probably the most deep of a dive I've done into a company in a really long time. So we're going to talk all about this one. If you guys like this content, please like and subscribe. Helps me out a bunch. Leave a comment if you want me to look at one of your favorite dividend stocks, and go check out my full dividend account, which had $1,000 put into 10 different dividend stocks, and we are putting out a new video, or just put out a new video on that. So go check that out. I'll link it in the description below. And let's jump into ticker MO. So this is one of the most popular dividend stocks, I would say, simply because of that dividend yield of 8.5%. And it's actually, as of last quarter, it paid out an 8.55% dividend, so a little bit of a jump there even. It is extremely popular. It's a retirement type dividend stock because everyone loves it and they've been consistent, and it's a dividend aristocrat. So it's had 53 years of dividend growth. Now that is phenomenal. You really cannot beat that, and this is officially the highest yielding dividend aristocrat as of today. There are a couple that are in the 5 and 6% range. A lot of them are beaten down, but they're still dividend aristocrats and getting more into buying territory. But MO far outshines them with that 8.5% dividend yield. Pretty phenomenal. So we're going to go through it. There's a lot I want to talk about. We'll jump first into their chart so we can see that 8.46% dividend, 94 cents a quarter. And on the year, it's been a pretty rough year. This is part of the downside with this company that I will talk about in the con section, but their management is interesting. There's just a lot of factors surrounding this company. For those that don't know, Altria Group, they are the leading production of tobacco products, and they do a ton of other stuff as well, smaller acquisitions and whatnot. And so basically they own Marlboro. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Honestly, I'm not a smoker. I do not recommend smoking by any means. So that's why this is a controversial one, because there's a lot of people that are really against this kind of just way to make money by investing in these kind of companies that are harming people. But I mean, you get the argument that they're doing it to themselves, and for those that want to, you can make your own choice. I don't own this company. I'm really considering buying in, but there is a little part of me that's a little bit, maybe you shouldn't do it with this kind of stuff. I don't like supporting this type of, especially nicotine addiction. I don't know. I'll leave a comment and see if I end up buying in. It's an interesting stock, and it's such a hard one not to buy, in my opinion, because of that dividend and because it's an aristocrat. So it is a huge company, $80 billion market cap, but they've been bouncing around quite a bit. If we go to their max chart, we can see that they're up over 72,000% all time. Now that goes back 53 years, 1983. Absolutely insane. From their high in 2017, which was before the pandemic plunge and then crash, they're actually, let's see what they're down about 40%. So they're still paying dividends this entire time. If you invested initially, you would have so much money, especially if you were putting that money back into the dividends. So that's the chart. And then I'm going to pull up their dividend history. This doesn't cover all of it. It only goes to 95. And it's not really accurate. I may start using a different dividend tracker because this one, Nasdaq.com, it's a little bit messy, and it might not disclose if they did like a reverse split or a split, and that's why the dividend changes. But dividend history is on lock. Needless to say, 53 years, it's still going extremely strong. Now, next, this is all from their Investor Day presentations. They had a bunch of presentations, and I sifted through, and I found a bit of information that I wanted noted. They have a ton of information. If you guys are interested, go look at this yourself. It's extremely interesting. The cash return to shareholders was good, as you would expect with a company like this. Premium, you see the different kinds of cigarettes and how high up this company is compared to the rest. And so there's a lot. And like I said, there's 3 whole presentations. They're huge. Let's get that established. They are massive. They are all over the place. I'm sure you guys have seen their products in gas stations. I didn't know that they had trade partnerships with Costco, which is pretty insane, and Walmart. So, but like I said, I don't have a lot of knowledge on the tobacco industry. So they're just a huge company. I had no idea it was actually this large, and it is an $80 billion market cap, which I noted. So it's just a huge company. And in the other presentation, they talk about the future. They're focusing a lot on smoke-free. So as newer generations come in and we see how bad smoking is, they have readjusted their product to be smoke-free, so you can smoke indoors, heated tobacco where there's less smell, oral tobacco, all that stuff to target a younger generation, which is definitely a negative in my opinion. I mean, it's good for the company. They're getting more clientele, but at the same time, it's not good for the people buying their products, and that's why people have a hard time if they want to buy this or not. So it's definitely an interesting one. They have 60% institutional ownership. I don't know if I spelled that right. Maybe I did. My spelling's not the best. But so a lot of institutional ownership, which is great. That's a lot of people who just trust this company. And I wouldn't expect anything less than from a Dividend aristocrat of 60%, which is pretty phenomenal. And they also had more insiders buying than selling. I did pull that up. And so shares bought in the last 3 months, 270,000. Last 12 months, 312,000. So a lot bought in the last 3 months. There was a bit of a drop, so I'm not surprised by that. And then sold, 100,000 sold, and 100,000 sold, roughly. So a lot of people buying within the last 12 months. Mostly this last 3 month period, pretty phenomenal. And I wouldn't be surprised to see that continue to go as people in the company are continuing to buy, because it's dropping in price a little bit as we saw on the chart. So it isn't necessarily a bad time to buy. Now, so this is Marlboro compared to the 11 other brands combined, and I don't doubt this. They are extremely popular. They're everywhere. I did note that when you go into gas stations, the supply of Marlboro is typically huge. There's a ton of different kinds and stuff, so it is definitely interesting. I'm definitely going to go over the 5 minute mark, but there's just so much I want to talk about with this company, and the cons. There are a lot of cons as well. I'm going to link the investor presentations down below, so you guys can go check this out for yourself, read through them, see what you like, see what you don't like. I try to cover most of what I want to know about with a dividend stock, and I really focus on dividend history and dividend growth, but there are some other things. The payout ratio on Marlboro is really high, arguably too high. It's like over 100%, which is a really big red flag. You usually want them around 50%. And so, but a dividend cut, when it comes to it, a dividend cut would be interesting, because if they did cut their dividend, that is such an insane buying opportunity. I'm sure the price would drop like mad, and you could get in at some lows with still a pretty high dividend yield. But I'm not saying they're going to do that. There's no indication that they're going to do that based off what the company is saying, but you never really know, especially with how the market has been. It's been rocky. So jumping into the cons, expansion struggles. So we're talking about Juul. For those that don't know, Juul is a type of pod. I think they're smokeless, water vapor. I don't know. I don't use them, and no one uses them now because they're actually banned by the CDC. And so when I talk about expansion struggles, as we can see with the stock, if we go to the last 5 years, these drops are, I think this one was when Juul was banned by the CDC. And so Juul was their really big project, and they talk about this in the investor presentation. They wanted to expand. Juul was extremely popular before it was banned, and so that was kind of their push. I'm not exactly sure why it was banned, but I know it was banned by the CDC, and that's why it dropped. Now, the only positive to that is that they actually are going to have like $12 million in tax write-offs because of the loss that they had on Juul, which is not a good thing at all that they lost that much money, but it is a positive when it comes to taxes. The reputation and public education. Now, this is extremely, extremely important. Not only the reputation of this company as a whole, but public education, because the more educated people are, the more they see the downside of using these products, tobacco products overall. Now I'm going to pull up, this was something I was really interested in, and it's probably the biggest downside in my opinion, besides the negatives of what the company sells, but the negative of owning this stock. Now, from the CDC website, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, they talk about smoking as a whole, how deadly it is, all of that. But the really big issue is current smoking has declined from 20.9%, 21 adults in every 100, that was in 2005, to 12.5%, 13 out of every 100 in 2020. Now, that's a good thing because less people are smoking, but it's definitely worse for the company because less income, less revenue. Now, I think that there will always be people who smoke. I think as they try and revolutionize the products, it will be popular. People like to do it. And so I think there will always be a client base, but it is shrinking, and that is extremely important to know. So definitely something that I think you should look into. If this is going to be a company that's going to be doing this well in 100 years, I can't say. There could be more issues with the CDC banning more products. Expansion is tough. They keep experimenting with things like Juul and other different kind of pods and vaporless smoking, and they're just flopping with a lot of these expansions. And so also, as you see, their main clientele is probably older. I would estimate it's older. Let's see. 15 out of every 100 adults age 45 to 64. That's 14%. So that's the largest category is 45 to 64, and 25 to 44 is also pretty large. But as these people get older, as your client base does die off, when they get into their 80s, 90s, and whatnot, and also as cancer continues to be something plaguing our world, and this being a leading cause of that, it's definitely a negative. So you have to think about long-term with this. If you want to buy it for 5 years and hold it and get that dividend, that's not something that I would be necessarily too worried about. But if you're thinking about holding this in like a Roth IRA account, holding it forever, just take that into note. Next, government programs. There's a lot of government programs that are fighting back against smoking. You have against smoking, against vaping, against tobacco overall. I've seen the commercials. I'm sure you guys have too. A lot of people, our government has a lot of reasons to not want people smoking for all of the problems it causes and what a drain on society some of these diseases that are caused by smoking can be. So you're fighting a lot of battles with this one. You're fighting, a lot of religious organizations that are against it, a lot of youth organizations, government organizations. There's a lot that's fighting this company. That being said, they've done extremely well, and there's a lot that goes into it. I hope I covered most of this. I hope you guys enjoyed this for the most part. There's a lot of information, so I hope I didn't drag on too long. We're about the 12-minute mark, so 5-minute DD was kind of a misleading title, but I wanted to encapsulate all of that because it's all extremely important. Lastly, let me know what you guys think below. Do you own Altria? Are you going to buy it? Do you think it's a good thing to buy? Do you have any moral problems with buying it? I want to know what you guys think because this one's a hard one for me. If it wasn't in this production type, if it was, a clothing company, I'd be buying it like that without a doubt. So there is a lot that goes into this and into the decision to buy these, but there's so many good things and so many hard things to choose. So again, let me know, like the video, guys. That helps me so much. We're slowly growing. I really appreciate all of that. If you've come here from my shorts, I appreciate that, or from links from who knows what. I really do appreciate you guys growing this account with me, and I want to know your opinions as well. I'm not here to just relay all this information. I love giving out information that I find, but I really want to hear from you guys too on what you're buying and what you guys like and the stocks you're looking at and the higher yields you're looking at, because there's so many stocks. I find new stocks all the time. So I appreciate you guys for watching the video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next one.